Hi, my name is Jim Balla. I'm the tech service guy here at Buyers Products. Today's video is troubleshooting our Pro Series spreaders. So as we're talking troubleshooting, we're talking electronics. So we're going to be looking at the battery, the wiring, the controller, both motors, and just show you how to troubleshoot them. Also, before we get going any further, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, become part of that SaltDogg family. Now let's look at the tools we're going to use today on this video. All right, so some of the tools we're going to need, not going to be a lot of them, but the one thing is we do have a test light here, so we can check power, and that's just standard power. Let's see if we're getting 12 volts back there. Also, we have a multimeter, so we can check volts. And then we have a jump box. This is we're going to show you how we could jump, the vibrator, the spinner motor, and stuff like that. And then I also have a couple jumpers with some alligator clips on, just so since the claws here are so big, they won't get in there. So that's why we're going to use some of the, some of these jumpers. So, all right. So next thing we're going to do, we're going to go look at basically the engine compartment of the circuit breaker, the battery, basic stuff we want to visually look at before we get going. So one scenario that might be happening is you get in the cab, turn on the controller, and the controller doesn't light up. So the first thing you want to do, again, this is a visual thing, is just come into the engine compartment. Well, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look for corrosion, make sure all the wires, are tight. Then also look at the circuit breaker. So this is a circuit breaker, and right now you can see that it is tripped, so it's not getting power. So what you do is just take this little lever and you put it back in, and now power is transferring from the red wire here, which is positive, to the red wire here, which goes into the cab that actually goes to your controller. But this is something you're going to look at. I'm going to stop it for now. Again, check see if it's loose or not, the wires. So if your controller's not lighting up, this would be the first thing I would look at. So now let's go in the cab and look at the controller. All right, so now we're in the cab and we're looking at the controller. So again, first thing, check all your connections. Make sure they're, sealed tight. Make sure there's dielectric grease in them. Again, the one thing is, am I getting power? Now this controller part number, the part number is always on the bottom. It's a 304-9810. So that's a controller number. So if you want to get any more information about the controller, and it says it does come with installation instructions, but again, this is a brand new parts and everything. So after a couple years, you still would like to keep this somewhere that you can find it. It's always online, so remember that number. You type in 304-9810. And what's nice about the installation instructions, it does have controller diagnostics. I can't really say it, but it tells you feed, spin, vibrator, feed jam, spinner jam, and it tells you what to do. I'm not going to go through the whole thing because it's online, but it's right there, and it's actually really nice instructions. It shows you what it all does. So, okay, so let's see if we're getting power to the controller, because again, we had circuit breaker. I turned it on, and then we just turn the controller on, and again, it's turning on. We know it's powered up, so power's getting into it. Now the question is, are we getting power out of it? So we're going to go to the back components, the vibrator and spinner motor, auger motor, and see if we're getting power back there. All right, so now we're at the back of the truck, actually back of the spreader. What we have here is, of course, we have our vibrator, we have our gear motor, and then we have our spinner motor. So what we're going to be checking is, are we getting power back here? Say one of your components is not working. So we're going to check the harness that's coming back here. Hey, are we going to get power? Then we're going to show you, hey, we're going to put power to the spinner or one of the components and see if they're working. Now, if we've seen that the controller has power. The question is the power getting back here? Now, if all three components are not working, most likely it is the controller or the harness. That the power's not getting back here, and it's a rarity that all three components would be bad. So what we're going to do right now is I'm just going to disconnect the spinner motor, and we're going to check it two ways. Okay, the first way we're going to check is with the test lights. You know, some people don't have a test light, some people don't have a multimeter, but they might have one of each, or not one of each, but one or the other. I have both of them. So what you want to do is just, you know, find the ground. Again, this is why I have some jumper wires that I could put a small alligator clip actually inside there and check it, and then I could put this, you know, to the ground. Now I'm going to have my assistant turn on the controller and then turn on the spinner motor. So we have power there. Now what she's going to do is go up and down from 0 all the way up to, you know, up to the max. As you can see, the voltage. As you see, the voltage, when the voltage drops, so does the light. So that's showing me that this is working correctly, that we're getting the right voltage back here. So you can say, again, you see it going up, and then now it's going down. So that's 0, then it goes up to, you know, 9 or 10. So the next thing I'm going to do is actually really, you know, if you don't have one of them, I'm going to just check, you know, voltage. I'm going to do the same thing. Just power and ground on the spinner motor. And just touch it in there. So right now I'm getting 12 volts, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. So, you know, so the test light, you know, doesn't give you the numbers, but again, the multimeter does. So right now I know for sure I'm getting power, you know, back to the spinner motor. And we're going to do the same thing. It's kind of redundant, but we're going to do the same thing for the gear motor to make sure we're getting power back here. So what you want to do is disconnect the red wire . All right, so we have a red and green wire, so I'm going to do the same thing with the test light, just to make sure we're getting power back here. I might have to get a jumper, but maybe not. All right, so we're going to do the gear motor. So you say we're getting power. You see how bright it's getting? Then it's going to start going low. So it's showing me that the voltage is dropping and the gear motor is going slower, you know, slower RPM. So I know that's good. Again, I'm going to do the quick check with the multimeter. Same thing. This was a little bit easier. Again, you know, you can't see it, but up to 12 volts, 12.2, and then she'll drop it down into 8, 7, 6. So again, there's 2 ways you could test it. So now the next thing we're going to do is, again, say your vibrator's not working. Let's check power getting to the vibrator. So I'll do the voltmeter first. Okay, let's try the vibrator. The harness is showing 12 volts right now, and that's what should be showing because there's no variable on the vibrator. And then I'll do the test light now. There, then, okay, hit the vibrator, and then you see we have power. So we know we're getting power back here. So I think I was just trying to power this up, and this goes right to the vibrator, so it's actually wrong. All right, so we know we're getting power back here. So the next thing we're going to do, I'd like to thank my assistant in the cab. I'm not going to mention her name, but we're just going to thank her. And so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the jump box and power each one of these components up to make sure they're running. So again, this is some things you want to test before maybe you have to call us, hey, what's wrong? Is it the controller? But at least we could get you quicker an answer instead of, hey, check this, check this, check this. This way you could have this checked before you guys call us. And then we can help you out for sure at any time. So let's power up with the jump box I have here. Again, we have negative, positive. So what I'm going to do is I will need the jumpers for that. Again, just alligator clips on some wire. But now I'm going to go directly to the spinner motor. On the spinner motor, you can test it both ways. The spinner motor is going to go one way or the other. So white is positive, and then black is negative on the spinner motor. I'm just actually going to turn it on, and then I'm just going to touch it in here. As you see, it's running good. And that's always going to be at full 12 volts, because we charge the jump box, it's telling me 12 volts. So again, you can see it cruising pretty good. Now we're going to do the same thing with the gear motor. I need a little extra wire here. I got to be careful, ground it out and shock it. So again, just going to put this in here, a negative. And then I'm just going to touch it. And as you can hear, everything sounds good. There's no grinding or anything. So it sounds like the motor's running well. And the next thing is our vibrator. So we're just going to put power to it. I'm going to take this ground right here. And there you have it. You can tell it's full 12 volts and the vibrator is working. So like I said before, this is a quick way before you guys call us. Is the controller working? Are each component's working? So each one's a separate test. So say your vibrator ain't working. Well, this is a quick and easy way to check it. Okay, I just put direct power to it and it's not working. The vibrator's most likely is bad. Pretty much positive. Same thing with with the gear motor and the spinner motor. Direct power to the components, it should run. So now hey, this is run. My harness is getting power back here. You're just back checking. But it's usually the first thing you do, hey, check the circuit breaker. Could be as simple as that. But remember, if the controller's not lighting up, it has to be the controller or something, before that. So from battery to the controller. All right, there you have it. Troubleshooting our Pro Series SaltDogg spreaders. Before we end this, I need you to become part of that SnowDog family. So make sure you smash that like button. Subscribe. If you have any questions, give us a call. buyersproducts.com. Email us. We'll be glad to talk to you and help you out through your troubles. Also, again, how we talked about checking everything on the spreader. We love talking to you, but if you could always check a few things before you call us, that means you're going to be on the phone less time, and we can get you that answer as quick as possible. Now go buy a dog and chase a storm.